Back again, day number 27 of the bulk. Today is going to be a leg day. So that's if you've seen one before, you pretty much already get the gist of what's going to happen. Throw down on some hamstrings, a lot of seated curls. Maybe I'll throw in some other varieties, right? Sort of help add to your training vocabulary in a sense, right? Like, help you sort of realize you can do some different versions of things. Then move on to squats. Get some pendulum squats going, leg extensions, maybe some Smith machine sissy squats, and that should be it. At the end, quads should be eviscerated. But when this is uploaded, it'll be later on Valentine's Day, right? So if you missed a lift to go do a little fancy dinner with your girlfriend, or even worse, if you missed your lift so that you could go out and try to meet somebody last minute, you are fucked in a progress perspective, right? It's just not it's whatever, but especially if you're already the single bachelor type, or you're in school, you're just adding some complications to the mix. If you're really legit and you want to kind of be focused on something 100%, you can't let anything bother you. You have to chillax on female action, right? So in terms of what's my favorite body part to hit, what's your, you love chest day? Bro, I hate arm day. I hate arms. I've never really been a person to sort of put one lift over another like that. They're all good for different reasons in different ways, right? Arms, love arm day. It's relatively easy in the sense that you're not going to be absolutely destroyed, gassed at the end of it like a leg day. Because on legs, you're getting real out of breath and shit. And then you get a cool ass arm pump. Sweet. Shoulders and chests. Shoulders, pretty much the same deal. Chest, love going heavy on chest, it's fun. Then you get a crazy chest pump. Back, still go pretty hard, but love a back pump. What do you want me to say? I like it all. And then legs, I love a leg pump. And then legs is also fun because it's hard. I'd say out of all of the muscle groups that you're going to train, legs will be the one where a good workout would probably take the most out of you, which would make sense why so many people just end up skipping legs. It's too hard. Plus, you're wearing pants all the time anyway. So that's the logic. Who's going to even see my legs? But if you're a real lifter at your core, you can't neglect any body parts. You gotta find growth. You gotta adapt your growth vector in every possible location. So legs, you gotta get bigger. Back, you gotta get bigger. Chest, shoulders, arms, everything bigger, goddammit. So I'm gonna finish this pre. We're gonna get in there. It's probably gonna be fucking empty. It's 1 a.m. When I finished class today, I just passed out. So I took a real big nap during what should have been my training window. And then I didn't wake up until pretty late. So, should be empty, no distractions. Sounds like a pretty good mix for a abhorrent leg pump. Yeah, so here's the science-based lifter section.
I don't really go in here much. So this doesn't count as the calf workout. Like obviously gonna hit calves at the end on their own. But I do feel like warming up your calves before you do hamstrings. At least for me, it does make the movement a little bit more comfortable. Not often, but sometimes, like right where my hamstring ties into my knee, like the back of my knee will be a little bit, I wouldn't say tight, maybe just tense. So doing a few sets of calves before we get into the hamstring curls pretty much keeps that from happening, at least for me. I mean, before I got up and actually, drove to the gym, I was feeling kind of sleepy. I was a little bit tired. I wasn't inherently, I didn't necessarily feel motivated, right? When you're at home and you get amped up, like, all right, it's time to lift right fucking now, right? Ideally, that's going to be how it is. But, even for me, sometimes I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm tired. I gotta fucking kind of gotta build up some resolve before I get up and hit the gym. But I have yet to skip just based on that feeling alone, right? Like, because that's now, unless you're like, if you're really sore, you take your rest day, you skip your lift. That's a smart thing to do. Like if my legs were as sore as they were yesterday before I got ready to go lift today, then I'd probably call it and say I gotta chill out because they're just way too fucked up. But considering the fact that they are not that sore, then guess what, asshole? Time to hit the gym. Shit. Ugh. All right, let's go a little bit lighter. That's a little too much. Four sets of just the standard curls done. Heavy. I couldn't think of a better stimulus just for your hamstring as a whole, other than just the seated hamstring curl or the laying hamstring curl. Like I just don't necessarily like this one, so I'm not going to do it. But if I liked it, I'd be doing probably half and half between the two of them. So I think I'll probably throw in a little bit of a weirder movement. I'll explain it in a second. So the basic premise is it's like a standing single leg curl, but that's kind of a specialty machine. They don't have it here. Your gym probably doesn't have it, but you've definitely got a leg extension. So if you can stand on like maybe a bumper plate or something so that your knee is pretty much at the same height as where this thing is pivoting from, then it should be pretty comfortable to load up some reasonably light weight, and you just do one leg at a time up like that. And it's not necessarily a heavy movement. I'd consider this more so one where you want to focus on really just squeezing the fuck out of your hamstring. So, don't go too heavy. I think I'll probably do maybe 2 or 3 sets. I'll start off with a drop set for each leg. Oh, jeez. I hate those little fucking weights. That single leg stuff, I like it. It's good to change it up a little, but you're not really getting as much tension on the hamstring as you could with, an RDL or the hamstring curl. So I don't really want to do any heavy RDLs. I kind of want to, I don't know, I just don't want to do it today. So I'm thinking last 4 sets, 1 normal set, hamstring curls, standard, and then I'll do a super set for the next 2 sets, where it'll be a set of hamstring curls, and then jump over to the Smith machine, do some light RDLs as sort of like a drop / superset. All right, come on. You can't see it, but I'm doing the stack again. God damn it. All right, so this drop set is really like the hit failure here, but it's just more so for some extra, a little bit of extra burnout for the hamstrings. You got to be careful going heavy on the hamstring curls, or at least from my experience, you should, because I've felt strong and like the reps are moving good, the weight's feeling light, and then like 3 reps into a real heavy set, rep, boom, pull a little something. Never brutal. Like I just have to take a little bit of time off, let it sort of, heal up a little bit. So probably better to maybe stay within range you're comfortable and don't fucking hurt yourself. All right, you know the drill. Get the plate underneath the heels. Again, I'll kind of break it down. For the most part, everybody is going to have some tight ankles, right? So if you stand up straight on the flat ground, like just try to squat all the way down without picking your heels up, right? And like get all the way to the bottom position of the squat, right? Without like leaning way forward, you're probably not gonna be able to do it. I know I definitely can't do it. But if you elevate your heels, then that should make your ankles artificially more flexible, right? Your knees will be able to go further forward, and then you'll actually be able to get into what I would consider an optimal squat position, right? Because powerlifters, the way that they are sort of trained to squat is they keep their shins almost vertical. So when they squat, they stick their butt way far out and they go down, and that movement really loads your posterior chain, your glutes, your lower back, which you're strong. You'll be strong doing it that way, but you're not going to get much quad activation. So if you want to build your quads, or at least you want to do squats in such a manner that they bias your quads, then I'd recommend at least trying out the heel elevated, because by putting your knees further forward above your toes, your quads are going to be what's doing the most work. And if you're a guy, you want bigger quads, you don't need bigger glutes for the most part. Whoa, fuck. So let's say you're a little tired. You roll into the gym. You didn't sleep that well, whatever. Don't be a pussy, of course. But what should you do to try and turn your mood around so you can really make sure you got a good lift? I say you just got to figure out how you can get excited, right? Either maybe watch some videos of some lifters that you like. Watch them kind of doing a workout before you start. Have that kind of amp you up a little. Listen to some goddamn music that you like. Anything you can do to get yourself excited, right? Because if you're moving around all slow and lethargic, you're not going to have a good lift, right? You got to figure out how to get your heart pumping. And I can't necessarily tell you how to do that, right? You gotta know what you like, and you gotta figure out how to apply that. Ideally, you'd have an infinite pool of internal motivation that you can rely upon, because obviously if you're here, that means that you want to get big, and the only way to get big is to train hard, as well as, eat hard as well. But yeah, you gotta train hard. So sometimes it's a little bit hard for people to connect the dots. So they want to get big, but then they don't train hard. And then they're sad that they're not big, even though they didn't do what it takes to get there. So just figure out how you can get amped up. So, I don't really do much in terms of warm up for these squats. Like, in my mind, I'm just trying to expose myself to the weight as quickly as possible while fatiguing myself as little as possible. And then 3 plates and above, usually it's just the one. And then by the time I'm ready for that top set, I'm pretty much good. So if you're doing 10 sets of 1 plate, 10 sets of 2 plate, or whatever increment that you use to get up to your top working set, I consider all those other sets before maybe not a waste of time. Like, obviously you're doing something, but they're certainly not efficient, right? I would rather do the one crazy ass set of squats than do 10 sets of like whatever mediocre like RPE 5 squats. The more condensed you can make your efforts, the more efficient your workout's going to be, and then you'll be able to finish within a reasonable amount of time. Like, you won't be in here for 3 hours just honestly loitering, and it's going to help you get strong as well. That's some fucking Mike Menser, who's that? Dorian Yates style training. Fuck. So pretty simple, just load up a little bit of weight, you're good. So when people ask me how long I rest in between sets, there's not a definite answer, because some sets are like that. This is going to take a minute. So if I were to give you a piece of advice on how long you should rest, I'd say until you feel about ready to move on to the next set, and that shouldn't exceed too long. I don't know, maybe a few minutes max. Squats done. I think this leg day for quads, I'm gonna do sort of a little bit of a 1-2-2 style, right? So there's not necessarily a scientific basis behind this. This is just sort of a lift sometimes I'll go back to. Instead of just doing like a lot of pressing movements in the beginning and then leg extensions towards the end. Because I think leg extensions are a crazy, awesome part of any quad program, quote unquote, any quad workout, right? I consider the leg extension the tricep push downs of arms, right? That's all your quad is doing. It's going from here to here, here to, to there. So I'm thinking I'll go one pressing movement, just finish the first one, which is squats, and then I'll do 2 leg extensions, and then repeat. So maybe the next pressing movement is going to be pendulum squat. Go back, 2 more sets of leg extensions, and then next one, maybe I'll do some single leg machine leg press that I like sometimes, and then some more leg extensions. We'll just see what happens. Got to change it up. I don't really want to do pendulum squats today. I think I'll just do some Smith machine sort of sissy squats, kind of like some Tom Platt style shit. A little sissy squat drop set too. So again, I'm gonna do a little bit of hating on the anti-pre-workout demographic of lifters, the likes of which his main argument is, oh, I don't want to be dependent on it. You know, what happens when I forget? Who fucking cares, man? Do you even know how to drive to the gym without your phone? Right? You're dependent on that shit. Okay? And that doesn't even that hardly does you any good. You can just memorize that shit. At least when you're dependent on a pre-workout, like if you take your pre every day, you get a gnarly pump, arguably more effective workouts. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Why would you want to just hinder your progress like that, right? I did the squats, 2 sets of leg extensions, Smith machine sissy squats, 2 sets of leg extensions again. But I'm thinking 1 more set of leg extensions on their own, and then 1 more set of leg extensions on their own, then do a superset, 1 set of heavy leg extensions, and then jump onto the machine leg press, right? And then that'll leave me 2 more sets of leg extensions, supersetted with the body weight sissy squats. So I'll finish that up, and then we can check the damage. It's good to throw in some tempo reps as well. So on this set, for each leg, I'll go a little bit lighter, and then I'll go like half rep, pause, flex it at the top, and then back down. So half, pause, flex to the top. Half, pause, flex to the top. Not like a long pause, but just like for 1 moment. Because if you think about it, once you're already in the motion of, doing the leg extension, like let's line the weight a lot. Like once you get it moving, to an extent, the weight just wants to keep on moving. So you're just doing a constant force on the way up. But when you do a little pause in the middle, like first you get it moving, and then you stop it. So you reduce the amount of force that you're using, and then you have to do another little extra rep. So instead of just doing a smooth curl, or you can kind of swing it and use momentum to get the weight up, right? You get up halfway, you stop it, and then you have to squeeze even harder to move it again. So there's the logic. It helps you get a little bit more of a tight contraction at the top of the rep. That's what I feel about it, at least. I'd recommend throwing in a few, at least just out of curiosity. Have I ever steered you wrong? So far, at least? Probably not. Last set. I go a little bit lighter, just really get some fatigue. And then sissy squats, how to pump these quads up the hill. Or maybe I won't even have to take off these pants, they'll just get blown off. We'll have to find out. Oh, shit. All right, let's go see what that did. All right, let's turn the exposure down. That's key to, if you're in good lighting, you may as well just take that exposure down a few clicks. You're not cheating. It's just photography. All right. So, to all the squat haters, what's about to happen? Have my quads disintegrated into nothingness? I doubt it. Yeah. All right. That is not bad. Oh shit. Whew. That's pretty filthy. If you care about the bodybuilding, when you do sort of the side chest like this, you want to try and keep your hamstring relaxed so that it'll sort of smush up against your other leg, and you want to tighten your glutes because it'll kind of pull them in a little. But, you know, who gives a shit? It's all about just the size. Ooh, damn. So hypothetically, if you were to follow that exact leg day, you should get a pretty goddamn gnarly pump as well. Oh, it should be illegal to have that kind of veins on a bulk. Oh, that means I gotta eat some more food. There we go. Now the shorts are at their actual height. So, you know, if you've been watching these, you noticed I'm not really lifting in like cutoffs or stringers or anything. Obviously, when I finish the lift and I come like check out the pump, then I sort of do. But I sort of feel like it's a distraction in a sense, right? You can kind of get caught up in looking at yourself, and I don't know. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. You know, I think the whole point of the pump cover is you lift, you get a pump, and then when you're done, you get to enjoy the rewards afterwards, right? So I'd rather just stay covered up for the workout, just focus on the feeling, on the sets, instead of, every 2 sets walking over to the mirror and like trying to check out some poses or my progress or whatever. Or let's say your pump isn't necessarily as big as yesterday. Let's say today you're a little dehydrated, you didn't drink enough electrolytes, because your pump is primarily water. That's why the whole premise of dry scooping is sort of foolish, at least in the sense that when you dry scoop your pre, you're probably not drinking a shit ton of water afterwards to dilute it. Because once you take in that pre-workout, and it at least the pump ingredients like the arginine and the citrulline, what those are doing is dilating your blood vessels, right? It's opening up your blood vessels so there's more room for fluids to flow around in your bloodstream. And then when you get a pump, obviously there's going to be more fluid running around, so you'll be able to really fill up. At least, that's a basic lifter description of what's going on. So if you just take your pre, you do your scoop, then you sip some water and you just chug it down, the caffeine will still hit you, and maybe it'll even I'm not necessarily sure if caffeine you would feel it faster or slower if you have it in a more concentrated form. But it's not going to change up how the caffeine affects you, so you'll still feel it, but that's an inferior method of administration, if you will, at least unless you get a good amount of water. But like I was saying, let's say you're dehydrated one day, and then your chest pump's a little smaller than usual, right? If you're really serious about lifting, mid-workout, that sort of thing might mess with your mind, right? Like, you're not going to look the same while you're lifting every time. So I'd rather focus on just covering up, at least for the most part, long sleeve, long-ish sleeve t-shirt, and then just trying to focus on the grind. God damn it. That's one thing I've always sort of felt, ever since all of this fitness stuff got popular. Like, obviously it's been popular. Like, it's been a reasonably mainstream industry. But I'd say over the last maybe 3 years, it totally jumped in popularity for what I would describe as the adolescent to teen youth demographics, right? Now everybody at your school is lifting. Every schmo has their fitness account, and I think they're focusing on the wrong idea, right? If you love all of the zoo culture guys, nothing wrong with watching them. Like, they're probably funny. I don't care. But if you watch them and all they do is they go around and they stay lean all year round because they're fitness influencers, they want to be able to pose shirtless and be real impressive. Because just being lean on its own, like, you could take a 160-pound dude and put him next to me right now, and if he was diced and a little bit developed, it'd be comparable. Just because being shredded makes you look good as fuck on camera, especially. Now in real life it might be a different story, because people look, typically if somebody's big on camera, they're even bigger in real life. You get what I'm saying. But if you're a new lifter and that's who you're watching for inspiration, and you can decide between starting your bulk, working on your baseline strength, squat, bench. I'm not a big deadlift guy, but deadlift if you want to. Or you could focus on, crash dieting to sub 10% body fat, just so you can take a picture with, some abs. I just think it's a waste of time. Same thing with a lot of these younger, teen guys competing, right? You do this whole bodybuilding show, and I'm sure it is very fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, they didn't enjoy the process. But I mean, if you want to compete, hypothetically, the whole point is you also want to try and win. So you should spend more time focusing on actually building up a physique rather than just trying to shred down and show off what you've already got. You know, like for me, since I'm just sort of focused on kind of long-term growth for now, I'm pretty much at about a reasonable loop of about a 4-month bulk. Not to the extent that like I get real soft. Like if you take a bulk too far, that's probably it's a little better than not bulking hard enough. Because sure, you're going to grow muscle, but then you're going to have to deal with all that extra fat you put on. So ideally, you bulk while maintaining a healthy-ish body fat percentage, like ideally no more than 20 at the peak bulk. And then take about 2 months or so, maybe 3 if you want to. You diet down. Ideally, if you maintain your muscle and you didn't crash diet or whatever, then you should be a little bit heavier at the end of that loop. And then you just repeat it until you get to your desired size. If you look at an Alex Eubanks character or anyone at Zoo Culture, a lot of the younger guys at least, they reach a certain level and then they're done. Once you get a reasonable amount of muscle, upper hundreds, and you're lean and you got abs, and you can like flex your quad and you've got some striations. Like once you're there, you can get a pretty good following just by posting consistently and stuff like that. But if you're actually trying to promote growth and you're working on, like you're going to the gym with the mindset that you want to grow over time and you want to progress, then you can watch those guys, like that's fine, but maybe try not to get all your advice from them, right? Because everything that they do in their lifting videos is either, to show off. Like I'll see a ton of those videos in my recommended where all they do is they max out. Like it'll be a full back day, or it'll be like entitled back day, and they go in and they just kind of fuck around a little bit, whatever. But then all they do is they max out their deadlift. How the fuck are you gonna get a big back if you emulate that, right? You can't just go to the gym and do is fucking max out. It's not a session. It's stupid in terms of progression over time. And then if you do watch their workouts and you're learning from them like that, you might get some good ideas about, different exercise choices and stuff like that. But you're not going to see the intensity that you need to actually grow, because the amount of energy it takes to build muscle in the gym, like the amount of effort that you'll be putting in to make progress, is, I'd say, oh my God, in terms of just maintaining your muscle mass, maybe not maintaining your strength, like I could probably stay, at whatever size by hitting the gym like a third as hard as I am right now. And that would just be maintaining, right? And for the most part, these guys, since they're dieting, they're staying lean all the time since they want to show off to the camera. That's what they're doing. When they go to the gym, they're just showing you how to maintain that lean physique. So, take their advice with a grain of salt. I'm not necessarily a firm believer in taking getting a lot of information from people who, preach growth, but they haven't even benched 315, right? Like there's big dogs floating around the whole world and they've got some serious knowledge, even if it's just talking about like intensity or, dieting tricks and stuff like that. I would trust like the 300-pound power lifter guy running around the gym to tell me like his favorite bulking meal, rather than, a 180-pound young LA athlete, right? So sometimes I think you sort of have to back off of people who just have a big following and try to focus on, who would actually be a good source of information. So enough of this little rant, this lecture. I'm gonna go finish some calves, and I may or may not do some more talking in the car. We'll find out.
Oh my God. I'm so fucking ready for bed. So, I was flat out of gas, like 0-mile range. So, it is late as fuck. I thought I was gonna get shot. And I hope you guys are getting a little bit more excited when you're watching these. Or if you're eating a meal right now, scruff down those last few bites. If you're hitting your cardio, don't get off the bike a few minutes early. Get those 30 minutes in, make sure you get a good sweat going. And if you're staying up late watching this video, fuck you, turn the shit off and go to bed. You're not gonna grow if you stay up. So I'll see you next time.